toddler because he never says he needs a wee until he...
Straight in there with a Maserati. You're pissing over my first car 30 seconds in. Right, auction started. Let's get in and see what prices are like. Nissan X-Trail just went through at 2250 for a Nissan X-Trail on a 2014 Brewer Motors Rangy. The last one was a Mike Brewer's Motors Rangy, so he decided to get out of that car. Went for your set. We have our first EV, but obviously more than I sold it to Joe for. Hi and welcome back to Chop's Garage. You join me on a crazy Monday morning where we've got a lot of running around to do, so you're going to come along with me. First thing is straight to the main dealers. First thing Monday morning, just picked up this 2018 Vauxhall Crossland with only 34,000 miles on it. The Vauxhall side of the business didn't want it because they had a few in already, and I guess because it's the flat red as well, which is never the most popular. I don't mind it on this one because there's a lot of black breaking it up. We have to now race back, drop this off. Mrs. Chops is going to take me back to the main dealers. I've got to pick up my first ever EV. I'm buying a Kia Soul EV. Got to race that back to the unit, then go home. And at home I've got a Range Rover Evoque, which I need to give to my neighbour, and there's a story behind that I'll tell you later on. I need to give the Range Rover Evoque to my neighbour that I was supposed to drive up to Shifting Metal today, Joe at Shifting Metal. And I've got to pay, make sure he pays Joe, and then I've got to pay him for his Jaguar XE that I'm then going to drive up to Joe at Shifting Metal at Bridgewater, get in a car with him, drive up country to the Midlands to go to G3 auctions to film with him, where I've got to buy a car, otherwise I can't get home. So it's going to be a busy one. So like I say, I'm going to bring you along for the journey as much as I can. Job one done. The Crosslander drove absolutely perfectly, I have to say. Really quite impressed with it. The interior is a bit dull. It's a typical Vauxhall, a bit dark, but yeah, drove really nicely. I think it must be a 1.4, 1.2 turbo. I'm not entirely sure. Never had one of these before, but yeah, I was impressed with the drive. Temperature stayed exactly where it was. All the suspension was smooth. Brakes were smooth. They've fitted the front and rear parking sensors as an optional extra on it, which is a nice little selling point. Not sure whether I should take the roof rails off or leave them on there or not for resale. Paintwork all seems good. Should buff up okay. Interior was all in good nick. 2018 with 34,000 miles. Fingers crossed. Famous last words, shouldn't cause me too much trouble. Anyway, let's go and get our first ever EV. So here we have it, guys. Don't adjust your set. We have our first EV on Chop's Garage. Excuse me, I haven't talked over the strimmer. I've just picked this up. It's a 2016, it might be 2017, I'm not sure. I think it's 39,000 miles on it. Kia Soul EV, and I want to shock you all here. I bloody love the drive back. I thought it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. What do you want from a car? I was just saying this to Mrs. Chops. When I get in the Rangy, I want something that's smooth and quiet and comfortable. Well, actually, this all does all of that in a mini version, doesn't it? It really is a nice bit of kit. It's a nice colour. Not sure about the wheels. Not sure about the white. I think it should look better with the wheels either colour coded to this match of body or in black. Comment down below. I'm thinking about painting those. This was a fairly early EV, full electric. I think the range on these was 99 miles. Now my biggest concern with buying this was where I am with the battery, because the the warranty on the batteries just ended with Kia. So I was a bit concerned. I said when I come to sell it, what am I going to have to tell people the range is going to be? Half? 75%, whatever. So no, don't worry, James, we've done a report for you. So I've got to shout a massive thanks out to the Kia boys in the workshop. They plugged it in for me and they produced these two reports for me, one for the cooling system and one for the batteries. And look at this, they said the batteries are 100%. This is something different. This is, not sure what that one is, but the actual battery is 100%. So you've got no cells down, anything like that at all. They said it's absolutely brilliant on the battery side of things. And then they've got this cooling report as well. They printed them off for me so I could sell them with the car. So I can give a report that says the batteries are bang on in this. The battery at the front, it has a normal battery at the front. That is at 14%, that's fine. So I was laughing and saying, well, I drive it back, because they said, oh, James, you've got heated seats, you've got sat nav, you've got cruise control, you've got all of that stuff. And I said, oh, well, I won't want to use that on the way home, and I'll lower the range. And they said, no, no, no. On these ones, because they talked me through it all, on these ones, the only thing that drains the battery is if you have the fans for the heating on, if you have the heating and the fans on. If you're using the heated seats, the sat nav, the stereo, all of that, that is just using the normal battery, normal 12 volt battery at the front of. so that you don't have to worry about at all. And I drove it back, and it dropped from Barnstable back to South Malton. The range dropped from 90, I think it was 97 miles to 87 miles, and I did actually have the blowers on for a bit. But yeah, it's smooth. Obviously there's no feeling of anything, no gear changes, because there are no gear changes. Smooth, it's comfortable, it's quiet, it's super easy to drive. I'm a bit of a convert so far, but I'm going to run it myself home and back, because you think about it, I live about half an hour from here, so I'm thinking this might be a good little commuter car, or at least for me to try it out. I want to see what the truth really is about electric cars, because so many people tell you really bad things about electric cars, but I've met a number of owners who say, look, it's all tosh. You know, you don't really do long journeys that often. If you charge it up at home, you know, it doesn't cost in the evenings, doesn't cost a lot to charge it up, and you'll have enough range. This has come with both the home charger and the charging station charger, which live in the boot. So I've got both of those, so I can plug it in with just a normal 3-pin plug at home if I want to. Reversing camera there, or I can use the one for the actual station. So I've got that one there, and I've got the home one there. And so they charge it all up for me before I picked it up. I like the interior. I like the light interior on it. That's quite nice. I like this grey. It's a really quite funky. I mean, Kia Souls are quite funky looking anyway, aren't they? But the seat needs a bit of a wet clean. But yeah, it's got all the toys. Heated steering wheel, heated seats, cruise control, Bluetooth, reversing camera, sat nav, DAB radio, auxiliary and USB input. Really nicely specced out bit of kit. Yeah, I really quite like looks. Anyway, we'll do a bit more on that another time, because I've now got to rush home, and I've got to pick up I've got to give the Evoque to my neighbour, and take my neighbour's Jaguar and drive that up to Joe at Shifting Metal, and then go from there, like I said, onto the auctions. And now I'll cover the story of why I'm giving my neighbours the Evoque that I've sold to Joe in a bit. But Mrs. Chops is waiting, so let's get cracking. So swap over done. I can't remember if I've done a video with the Evoque in before, but I bought a 2014 Range Rover Evoque 2.2 diesel in a lovely metallic blue with cream leather, two-tone leather interior. And I'd already agreed to sell it to Joe at Shifting Metal, Berham Motors, but brought it home because I was going to drive it up to him today. But when I brought it home on the Saturday, my neighbour saw it, and he had one before, and he'd bought himself this. He's had this for a year or two now, XE 2-litre diesel, but really missed his Evoque for the high ride height, that kind of thing. So he saw the Evoque, he came over and he messaged me and said, James, can I buy the Evoque? I said, sorry, it's already sold. I've already agreed to deal with a dealer, but I can message him and see if he wants to do a quick flip, because Kev, my neighbour, he does trade deals with me all the time where he buys the cars trade, and he's one of the few people I do actually trust to do those kind of deals with. So I said, I'll find out if Joe wants to just do a quick flip and make some profit out of their car that way. I couldn't sell Kev the car directly myself because I'd already agreed to deal with Joe. Obviously, there's more profit for me to sell the car directly to Kev than there is to sell it to Joe, because I've sold it to Joe at a trade price, and the deal for Kev will be somewhere in the middle of the two between trade and retail. I think the retail of the Evoque was 14. But Joe offered Kev a big discount off retail to buy it off of him trade, but obviously more than I sold it to Joe for. Hopefully you're keeping up now. But Kev said, I need to get out of the Jaguar. He said, I can sell it privately. I said, well, I'll send Joe some pictures and see if Joe's interested in the Jaguar. I said, with a trade deal, you don't normally do part exchanges on a trade deal, so it'll have to be two separate transactions. I said, I'll get Joe to give you a price on the Jag. Well, Joe gave Kev a really fair price on this Jaguar, a really fair price to be fair, which meant it wasn't worth Kev's time doing anything else with it other than to sell it to Joe. So obviously I have now got the Range Rover Evoque at home. Kev's got this next door. I said, well, okay, if you two are doing a deal, I will drive the XE up to Joe and leave you with the Range Rover here at home. The only issue is the Range Rover had private trade plates, so I did nip out this morning as part of getting those other cars and get him a set of number plates with the original number plate on. So now I'm in this XE to go up to Joe's. I think Joe's going to be very happy with it. I sent him some pictures of it. It's a very nice looking car. Kev has cleaned it for me as well. Its mileage is not high at all. I can't remember, what is its mileage? It's a really nice two-tone interior. The mileage is only 46,000 miles. It's got loads of history, which I can't remember what I've done with. Did I put it in the car? Yeah, it's got loads of history. It's in really nice condition. It's the automatic. So yeah, I think everyone's a winner on this one, apart from I've got to go back and get the paperwork. I've just left it at home. So we're going to drive this all the way up to Joe, up Burnham-on-Sea, and we'll see how it goes. So here we are. This is where all the magic happens. A proper car dealership where they have staff and a forecourt and everything. The XE got me here absolutely fantastic. I was saying to Joe a second ago, I actually think I prefer that to a 3 Series I drove recently. I drove a 320 recently, and I'm now having driven this here. I really like this. That 2 litre, you'd think it was a much bigger engine. It pulls really, really well. I didn't even try it in there's like an S setting or a dynamic setting. Really comfy, really smooth, really quick, did great MPG. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with that. Hopefully Joe gets on well with it. Anyway, we're going to catch up with him now and head up to this other auction. So once again, I'm having to suffer Joe's terrible driving and poor directional skills. I'm busting for a wee like I was last time we went, because we've been stuck in the car for about 5.5 hours.
He's like a toddler, because he never says he needs a wee until he's like, well, he won't let me go for a wee.
No, what I'd like to do is actually just leave a puddle in your new car, so that when you come to sell it, you have to explain away the terrible smell. So yeah, where are we now? I have no idea where we are again. I don't pay any attention.
We're on the M42.
M42.
To Kingsbury. But we haven't gone through Birmingham this time, which
yeah,
drastically improved the journey so far, but we have hit a bit of traffic, but it looks fairly light. So Hampton in Arden. Bloody hell, we're in France. Hampton in Arden, Catherine de Barnes, Eastcote.
Yeah, I think we've gone.
We're just a bit south of Birmingham.
So I'll catch up with you in the hotel and show you what purchase I'm hoping to make tomorrow if Joe doesn't try and outbid me, because he's big bucks Joe with all the prestige stuff. And yeah, I'll catch up with you in a bit, and then I'll let you know how much I'm rinsing for dinner later on as well, because I know you'll want to
have to the puddle with the seat as well. Getting that authentic Jaguar smell.
I am getting that age where I just smell a wee all the time though, to be honest, so it's not really that big an issue. Right, catch you in a bit. So here we are, all rested after the Premier Inn at G3, ready for a day's bidding. We've got all fantastic plans, haven't we? We've checked the car's MOTs, we've checked what their retail values are, we've checked the condition reports, we've checked the mechanical reports. We're going to go in there and ignore all of that and bid on the first thing we like the sight of. It's how it normally works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm going to try and not wear my glasses today as well.
Yeah.
Rose tint it. I have got them in my pocket.
That's a good call.
But, you know,
yeah, because what happens is
upsetting yourself, is there, when you look at things that you're interested in buying.
The buyer's remorse is real, yeah. So yeah, we'll probably get bid up on the stuff we want and then think it's too expensive, then look at something going across the block, think it's cheap, and then find out it's absolute heap. But it wouldn't be the same if we didn't do it, so let's go check out what's on the go. Straight in there with a Maserati. 18 plate, 46,000 miles Maserati DV6. I know some people don't like the diesel Maseratis, but I actually don't mind them, because it's a fairly simple engine. If you do have problems with it, anyone can really fix it. It doesn't need special Maserati tech. It's a nice looking thing, isn't it? I'd have it over this M60 X5. So yeah, you do get some very fancy stuff in the auctions as well. So a quick reminder, the G3 is actually available to the public, unlike some other auctions as well. So you could come along and get involved in the fun as well if you wanted to. I'll put a link in the video description down below. Straight away, this is something I've been meaning to try for a while. An XJ, always fancied an XJ, because I love the XF, didn't I? I really like that XE that I got, that we came up in. This is a nice looking thing. What ridge is that? I didn't look this up on the actual auction beforehand, so this is exactly the danger of coming to the auction. I know nothing about this car. I should probably do a little bit of research. Joe's straight into another blooming Audi. He's got an obsession with a sloping back Audi, he really has. He's got a little bit of a problem. It does absolutely nothing for me, this. Absolutely nothing. So we won't have to fight over this one, mate, if you want to have a little bid. So I found one of the first cars I've been looking at, which is this Cougar Titanium. So nice spec. This one is from a finance company, so we don't know the circumstances to why this has come back from a finance company. What's all those up? Does that mean like lane assist?
That's ADAS.
ADAS.
That means if you have to change your windscreen, or do you know what? It was one of these the other day that cost me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, because has this one got it?
It's full of the bloody joys of spring, isn't he?
Huh?
It's full of the joys of spring. You're pissing over my first car 30 seconds in.
the blind spot things.
Right,
Cost me
okay.
like 700 quid to get that fixed.
Ow, I broke someone's wing mirror there. Let's have a look at the condition of the body first, because we might decide off that we don't want to go any further anyway. Is that bonnet's all right? I thought it was not lined up. Wheels in good nick. No real dents or dings down here. Apologies for the interruption. Sod's law that started as I was looking at this car. That bodywork looks alright, doesn't it? I'm not getting through that gap. Interior looks okay. Is it open? No. Got leather. Is it open your side, is it? We like a good valet, don't we? 90,000 miles. Oh, it's got the 2-litre diesel in it, which isn't a bad engine. I don't tend to have 6-speed, cruise control. Does it smell of anything?
Bit doggy.
Yeah, a little bit doggy, isn't it? Nothing I'm seeing at the moment would make me too worried about this. Let's cut and let this lady do a bit first. To be honest, there's not much more to see anyway. Bodywork seems to be decent. Wheels seem to be decent. Tyres seem to be decent. It's got a mechanical report. It says it's still a punt. They're all a punt. You just never know. You don't know why the finance company took the car back. Did they run out of cash, or did the person reject the vehicle because there was a problem with it? We won't know. We'll try and get here for startup and hear what the dual mass flywheel sounds like. But we do have some security with this assured report. Anyway, let's go and find the next one. I'm afraid that stuff over the tannoy is on a continuous loop, so we're going to have to just talk over it for a bit. So we've got this Nissan Qashqai that I saw tagged on my cars to look at, and it looks like quite a nice car. It's a nice colour. The bodywork is in good condition. Alloys aren't too bad. They've got a bit of the traditional Nissan peel, but not too much. I think there's only a couple that are affected. It's got a bit of, a few little scrapes and scratches on the back bumper there, but it's 2014. It's 10 years old now, isn't it? And it's a family car, so it's had some wear on it. You've got to live with that kind of thing. Down this side's good as well, bodywork-wise. Again, the wheels aren't too bad. We have got a bumper here that's slightly out of alignment. Might need some new clips. Take that off, put that back on again. Inside is a bit dirty. It's a bit grubby. This looks like a possible finance one again, so we don't know if it's been repoed. This will all clean up okay though. 6-speed. Yeah, nice car. This is one I will possibly be having a look at, see how much goes across the block at. It'll get me home okay. Well, shouldn't it? If I recall correctly, it's the 1.5 diesel, which I quite like, so I've got no problem with that engine. So this is the car I'm absolutely not bidding on. I put it on my list and then decided I wasn't going to bid on it. And I was going to walk straight by it, and I've now spent about 20 minutes looking it over. It's an Infiniti QX70S. So it's a bit of a beast. We got a scrape there. We got some paint that's been done here that the orange peel doesn't match the rest of it. So it's had paint, but then hasn't had paint at this age, 2012. It does have a lovely interior. Is Infiniti Nissan's side of things? Toyota. I mean, it should have good components underneath it all. It's got a really nice interior. It would be a lovely drive home. All the 20-inch alloys are in lovely condition. Possible finance repo, possible. Not got a service for the last 4 years. Got a good service history up till then. Tow bar, which doesn't really worry me too much because it should have the grunt to tow something. I have no idea who the potential market for this car would be. I've just always fancied trying one myself. I should check the tyres really, shouldn't I? Because they are massive and they would cost a fortune. What are they? Budget as well by the looks of it. There's plenty of tread on the tyres. Brakes look alright. I don't know why am I doing this? Why am I even looking at this? It just does get a bit boring buying the same type of cars all the time, I have to admit. So here's another one on my list, Mazda 2. Nice little car, I haven't had one this shape before. I like Mazda 2s in the earlier shape. I find them reliable, fun to drive. All the things people want. They're a bit more spacious than other stuff. You've got those chain driven engines which are tough. We've got a bit of a dinged up bit on the rear bumper there, but nothing outrageous. The rest of the bodywork looks pretty darn good. There's no doubt going to be a few different whites once it gets a bit of a polish on it. Headlights need a good buff, but this one has an assured report on it, so we know that all the basics are good to go on it. It's got MOT expires on the 7th. Service history, no. Doesn't worry me too much on this one though, so they are tough, and Mazda is online, so you can put an app in your phone and then check the service history of the car. So that may put some people off, but I know that I will be able to get some history from Mazda online. I like the red in the interior. In fact, this is probably my favourite little one so far, to be fair, if I'm going the safe route. Yeah, this is one that I think, where's it come from? Let me just double check where it's come from. I think this is another finance car. I know, car supermarket. Now that is a slight worry. I don't know if they just don't retail stuff this age and mileage, or whether they know there's a problem with it. But then again, we do have that report, don't we? Right, auction started. Let's get in and see what prices are like. So this Nissan X-Trail just went through at 2,250 for a Nissan X-Trail on a 2014 with 78,000 miles. Don't know why, I didn't see the mechanical report on it. Very tempting to bid on it, but that's where the risk comes in, because people knew something about that I didn't. Another cheap car, 2018 ASX with only 35,000 miles for 7.4. The only problem with those now is getting the parts for them. They're really hard to get parts for. But they drive really nicely. I was very tempted, but too risky. So we've got another range in 2016 with 134,000 miles on it. What a price do we think this will go for? Because these have been really struggling lately. Really struggling. I'll wait for the bidding to get going and I'll let you know how it goes. But put your guesses in down below now. Right, I missed that, it went out, but it went for 9.6, and that was a Mike Brewer Motors Rangy. The last one was a Mike Brewer Motors Rangy, so he decided to get out of that car. Went for 9.6 online, I think it was. No, in the hall it was. So we've got another one up now, a Velar. This one's 2017 with 63,000 miles.
324, the Velar, 3 litre, your bid then.
Let's see how this one goes.
Where do you see that? Cap clean is 22.3. What's it worth?
22.3 is cap clean, so 22 is the trade price. Now the Velar went for, it's moved on now, went for 9.3, even though its trade value was 23. Velar went for 19.3, so that was provisional. We'll see if it goes or not. This one here, we've got a little Evoque. I've got a run picture, so I can't tell you what the mileage is on it. This seems to be getting bids quicker than the Velar did. I guess because this is the kind of price range that's still affordable for people and they're still buying these. So this Jag here I was tempted with, but it's got engine management lights on it. I've asked them to rev it up. It doesn't sound like it's the intakes, which I'd expect. The plastic intake's breaking, but I don't know if it's in limp mode, so I would literally be in limp mode all the way back to Devon for 7 hours. So I just can't risk that. I don't want to be pulling over, resetting it every 5 minutes. But all that said, I am tempted to watch it go across the block, because with those engine lights on, could it go for stupidly cheap money? I don't know. We'll wait and see. It's a 6.9, which is too much of a punt for me, bearing in mind it could have a good 1,500 quid's worth of engine work needed on it, if it's the intakes, if it is the intakes. I mean, if the mileage is genuine, that's super low mileage. If it is back on finance, no, too much of a punt. If it'd been super cheap, maybe, but no, too much of a punt. So this is what I was going to bid on, but I've just seen the paint on the door is absolutely appalling. I don't know if you can see it from here. It's got loads of crap in it.
Back on
got overspray onto the front wing there. I can see it shimmering all over the place. The filler is really bad. It's really bad repair. I'd be into paint on that one. Yeah, and it went for within 100 quid of what I thought it was worth in good condition. So we'll hang fire, wait for the next ones. I missed this. We've got a 2015 Porsche Panamera coming through. Black with tan leather. I'll be interested to see how this goes. 16.4. I don't know what this is actually worth. I'll try and find out, put on screen what the retail of this vehicle is. That's it, done at 16.4. There's a chopped spray job on the alloy wheels on this Mercedes. Look, they've even covered over the badges, painted the tyres and the badges. The Mazda 3.
You know when you're buying
going to catch up with screen.
Mazda Sport now. Daniel, you're in at £3 but I don't think you're going to be in for long, so I hope you're still online. £3,000, good retail prospect. Retail really well, don't they? 31 I've got. £3,100 across from you now at 3-1 bid. In the middle now, £3,100 there at 3-1. 2 online, 33 in all. 34 in all. £3,400 back in door down, 3, 4 and 5 online. 35 I've got online, 3,500 bid 36, back to the bank, 36, 7 bid net, online at 378 bid net, online at 38, you've got 9, 39 in all, 39 I've got, pick that one again then, 3,900 bid down from now at 39, capping it nearly 5, 4 online, 4,000 bid 4-1, back indoors, 4,100 across from me now, 4-1 bid, on sale, thank you Matt, 4-1 the bid down front, fair warning we're selling it, 4-1-1, do it quick net, 4-1 blanks, at 41.
So 66 plate Ford Focus RS, 20,100 it's finished at. Unfortunately somebody bought that and lost the service history between it getting from the garage, lost it, not G3, and they had it when it came in but they delivered it here without it, so that's going to really hurt the sale. So the Infinity's coming across the block, let's see what this ends up going for. So Infinity went for 4.3, that's the next car, it's got the wrong price on the screen. Infinity went for 4.3 plus fees. So I've hung around to the end, I've bought that Golf which I can't find and show you what it is, and I've also bought a Sportage which I can't find and show you what it is, a 4x4 2014 I think it is, no 2013 4x4 Sportage with a 2-litre diesel engine in it. So I hung around to the end, there were some deals to be had to the end as there always is if you can wait it out. So I'll try and find those cars and show you them in a bit. Here's why the 2014 X-Trail went for £2,500, because it said engine running but engine unduly noisy, and it had a engine management light on it as well. 78,000 miles, but I still think that's possibly well bought at £2,500. I don't know how much you can get an engine for, but is it automatic or manual? That's probably a, I don't know, I want to say a 7k car plus, because an automatic's like 10 or 11. So let's take a moment to appreciate the set of knackers that Joe has on him. How the boy could even walk around the place, I do not know. He should walk like John Wayne. It is another RS Audi. So what's the retail on this one?
Well, cap retail was about 16,000, I think it's 20.
You think it's 20? I think it looks like a 20k car, quite comfortable, doesn't it? I mean, as they go, this one looks pretty well looked after. I was just spotting it had Contis all round. The paintwork's good, interior's good. Did you got a service history with it?
It's got a service history.
Does it? Does it?
With it. That's the only downside.
Do you know what? I worry less about V5s than I do about service history. V5s is the easy thing. So people panic when they don't have a V5, and it's like it's just the easiest bit of paper in the world to lose.
Especially on like cheaper cars, because people haven't got a V5, they think it's dodgy all of a sudden. It's like, well, it's 25 quid for a V62.
They don't understand that the invoice is the proof of ownership, not the V5 anyway. That's just proof of keeper. Now this is a nice looking car.
That's who's responsible. That's who's going to get taxed.
Yeah.
Reminders and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand. I really don't understand why people get so upset about V5s. But there you go. You got some fancy discs on this as well, haven't you? So are you sharing what you bought it for, or are we keeping that to ourselves?
Yeah, can do. It was 13,800 plus fees.
13,000.
So we're going to be in the region of 14.3 or something.
14.3 on something that's probably a 20.
14 and a half by the time I put fuel in it and got it home to Somerset.
So 14 and a half, and then yeah, that's not. I mean, you can see why you do the flash stuff because the margins are larger. But that said, A set of discs on this, what we're saying, a set of discs on this are £1,000? About £1,000.
You know, a budget.
So,
Because they're two-piece, like wavy.
yeah.
And the ones on the RS4 I bought the other day, they're definitely a little bit warped on the front, because they do for a past one apparently. And so fingers crossed, this isn't going to be.
So basically, I could rebuild my Mazda 3 for the same price as you. We'll have to put a set of discs on that.
This is the basic maintenance on this.
Well, of course, if you want to find out how badly Joe ends up spending out on prep, if you aren't already following Shifting Metal, which I'm sure you are, get across to his channel and see Toby's fantastic camera work. He doesn't get a chance to go on camera very often. Look at him, what a ledge. So another good day at G3. Joe has been ultra brave, as I discussed earlier. There's my drive home, the Mazda 2 on a 16 plate. That's quite new for me, isn't it? 16 plate with 88,000 miles. I've hopefully this will get me home nice and safely. I've got the Golf to get delivered and the Sportage to get delivered. But yeah, I want to drive this straight home because I think the bodywork on this is really good. The wheels are really good. The interior is really good. In terms of prep, I'm going to be able to, if I can drive this home and I'm happy with the drive, I'll be able to get it all cleaned up and up for sale pretty much straight away. Get a new MOT booked in, but I'll be able to advertise it immediately. So I shall update you shortly on how the journey home goes. We've got, like I say, 6-7 hours now to go back. Probably 6 hours plus an hour of eating, I'd say. So yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Just fueling up at the Asda opposite G3, and I found my first fix on the Mazda. I thought the exhaust was rattling, but then I remembered these have a real habit of having heat shields drop off. It happens all the time on them. And lo and behold, put my hand out of the way, lo and behold. So there we go. Put back up there, maybe I can find something in Asda to get it permanently up there for a bit on the way home, but at least I know what it is. So just outside Birmingham, Hotwood Services. I put on a Birmingham accent a little bit then as well. The little Mazda is going a treat. Joe's just joined me in the Jag. I'm sure he'll explain on his channel why he's not driving the car back later on. Yeah, so the little Mazda is going fine. I'm a bit concerned because I've been driving for what, 2 hours you say? You've been driving for 2 hours?
About 3 hours.
About 3 hours. I filled it right up and the bar hasn't moved, so either it's really good on fuel or the fuel gauge is stuck. I just put a bit of air in the tyres. I'm really impressed with what kit it's got in it because it's got lane assist, it's got cruise control, Bluetooth, it's got a tyre monitoring, sat nav. It's crazy spec really. But anyway, check the oil again, make sure the oil was okay because it was slightly down when I got it, about halfway, so I topped that up. It's still exactly where I put it, so it's not using any of that so far. So from here on, I think there'll only be one more stop before we get home. 8:30 they reckon. So following morning, back at Chops HQ. It was about nearly 10 o'clock by the time I got home last night. I didn't feel like doing any more recording then. A journey, what a journey. I no exaggeration, I would say probably 50 to 60% of the entire journey, that 6-hour journey, was 50-mile-an-hour speed limits, where they said they were working on the roads, but I honest to God did not see a single person doing any work. I didn't see any diggers, I didn't see any road work people, anything. It was just, I don't know what the motivation behind it is, but like I say, probably about 50% of the journey was 50-mile speed zones and there was no work going on at all. Anyway, enough of that little rant. The Mazda 3 performed perfectly, absolutely perfectly. Like I say, you've got that little bit of a rattle from that heat shield on the back. Other than that, a small amount of play in the steering wheel. We've had that on the Mazda 2s before. If you stop the car and you do a little bit of a rock, you get a little bit of a knock in the steering column. It's normally the U-joint at the bottom in the footwell, so I'll get the boys to have a little look at that. You probably wouldn't notice it if I didn't say, but other than that, there's only that little bit of bodywork to do on the front corner there. Again, can't believe the spec of it. Really well kitted out. I was able to come back on cruise control with my sat nav on the go, with my tunes through my Bluetooth speaker. I took the lane assist off. That was annoying me because every time I crossed the lines to go between lanes, it was rumbling a bit. So I took that off. That was annoying me a bit. So yeah, that looks like a good little car. So what we're going to do now quickly is go through the numbers with you. I'm sure you appreciate that. I'll go through the numbers on the screen of each car now, of how much I bought it for, how much the fees were, how much I think delivery is going to be, how much margin I think I've got in it. The other two cars I'm going to have to do in a future video because I'm going to have them delivered. and I don't know what's wrong with those. I don't know whether we're going to be making any money out of those. Two I bought off the cuff. This I researched a lot before I decided to bid on it the previous day. The other two I bought off the cuff in the haul because towards the end of the day the prices were really getting cheap. So starting off, we've got the invoice here for the Golf I bought, which I haven't seen yet. 16 plate Golf in silver with 106,000 miles, diesel. I paid 4126 for that car. There's a bit of VAT, but I'll get that back. It's going to be 300 quid in delivery, so we're looking at 4.4. Now the retail for that car is 76995 effectively, so good margin in that car depending on what's wrong with it. Injectors alone on that model can be quite expensive. Next up we've got the Mazda, that is 4473. I've driven that back, so it's just the cost of the fuel, so say 50 quid. Well, I think it was less than that, I think it was about 30 quid, so about 4.5 on that one. The retail for it is 6.5, so we've got about 2k margin in it before prep. We already know there's going to be a little bit to spend on it. It shouldn't be too hard, touch wood, to make £1,000 out of it, depending on whether 6.5 is a realistic price. But for a 2016 with 80-odd thousand miles, it seems like good value for money. Then next up we have the Kia Sportage I bought. That was 79,000 miles for a 2014 4x4 Sportage, popular down our way. I paid 3.8 for it with all my fees. I'm at 4170. Don't worry about the VAT because I'll claim that back. I've got my delivery on top. I'm going to be about 4.5 with the delivery on that. But if we look at Auto Trader, it says the current sort of retail for that is 7495. So there's a good margin to be had in that car. That said, we don't know mechanically what it might need. It did have a report that said it had no warning lights, the clutch was okay, all that kind of thing, but we won't know for sure. So there we have it. As said, in a future video, I shall do some content on the other two cars when they arrive. I want to say a massive thanks to G3. Thanks to Joe for inviting me along with him to go to G3. Thanks to G3 for having me along. Brilliant auction. As I say, one of the few auctions you can join as a consumer. So you can go and buy cars like I just did. You do have to put down a £500 deposit on your account, which is totally reasonable because unfortunately you do get a lot of time wasters when it comes to this kind of thing. They need to know you're serious. Obviously, if you don't buy anything, you can get your £500 deposit back. But it's it's there to ensure that people don't welch on their bids. Because it has happened in the past to them, unfortunately, when they started to let consumers do it. So £500 deposit down, then you can get yourself bid in. Make sure you allow for the fees on the cars. You know, could be £300 to £500 depending on what sort of price range you're buying, and obviously allow for getting them transported back to you. If you can go down there with a friend and drive the car back, that's probably the best way of doing it, if it's drivable. Hopefully it's drivable for you. But yeah, if you want to get involved, remember, auctions are a risk. They always are a risk. There's a reason the cars are in there. Sometimes you get lucky, like we have done with the Mazda 2. There could still be problems I don't know about. If you do your research and you stick to nice, simple engines and simple cars, then there's less risk than if you go for the more complex cars, which I'll let Joe talk to you about. Do your research, check, has it got a valid MOT on it? What does the MOT look like? How scary was it? Where's the car come from? Like I say, if it's a finance car, possibly it's a good car, it's just been repossessed. If it's come from a dealer, if they aren't a big main dealer, it's possible they're bailing on a car that's got problems. So check whether the car is coming from a big main dealer who's just unlikely to do the sort of age and mileage the car is, or check if it's a smaller dealership that's just trying to get out of a bad car. Those are some simple checks you can do. Unless you fancy a real punt, go for the one with the reports on, where they've done reports, so you know the basics of the car are good to go. And I say just allow for those fees and don't get carried away with the bidding. Set your number, stick to your number. It's very easy to get carried away. Yeah, I said G3, great place, lovely people there. All the drivers happy to chat to you. All the staff there happy to guide you about how to do things. Loads and loads of choice. It doesn't cost a lot to stop in the Premier and round the corner if you decide to do it that way. Definitely prices much better than they are down here in the southwest for getting cars. There's still enough margin in them to buy them, transport them, get down here and still be ahead of some of the prices we see down this way. So anyway, as always, massive thanks for watching and I will catch you on the next one.